name is Wendy. I graduated in 2020. I have 2 boys, ages 5 and 6.
I'm Madison. I'm the housing program manager at FloCrit. When I came to FloCrit, I was assigned my caseload, and my first person on my caseload happened to be Wendy. And she came to me, and the first thing that she needed help with was housing.
When I first came to FloCrit with the housing issue, it was for a domestic violence incident I went through, and I had to leave my home immediately. I was placed into like an emergency type of shelter.
After you kind of were looking for housing again, we helped you find that apartment, and then FloCrit paid the first month's rent and deposit, so she was able to move in.
I was only there for like a few months, maybe 2, 3. Then I had an incident and I had to leave for my safety again.
When anybody is going through any type of like domestic violence or stalking or harassment, anything that's making your environment unsafe, there's a legal right called Violence Against Women's Act, where people are allowed to break their lease without the cost of the fees and the risk of the eviction going on their record. But unfortunately, it's not always made clear that that's a right. And so when you came to us, we kind of walked you through that process of figuring out how to get out of that lease and how to maintain the housing, the tenant rights that you had, so we could relocate you into something safer.
After I was removed from my apartment, I was placed in Warren Village First Step. I've been there for 6 months right now. I just started school about a month and a half ago. And it just kind of gave me like some time to breathe and not really worry about the financial part, having stable housing. And then I was able to continue my education once I got all that figured out.
It's been so nice to see her be able to actually just focus on school. When I first came to FloCrit, housing didn't exist. What we ultimately saw was too many of our families were having to decide, do I get to stay in school or do I need to leave and go to work because of the cost of living? And so we got to this point where we just felt like it was too high of a barrier anymore, where there wasn't a choice. We needed to support our families with housing so that they could actually be able to have a safe place at night to reset, an affordable place to actually be able to take the time to come to school. 99% of our families are experiencing at least one or more housing challenges. Then with that, about 60% of the families that come to us when they get referred for housing support, they only have 1 to 2 months before they have to move. The existing services we have been really successful in allowing families to stay at school. For example, for our financial assistance program, out of the families that have received it, 96% of the families have been able to stay housed and 100% have avoided evictions altogether. So we've been able to help kind of release that long-term impact of an eviction following you for 3 years, and then also support our families in staying housed who are. So it just shows that like the dollars are making a long-term impact on our families. What has really expanded in our housing services and what makes it unique is that every service is paired with really intensive support or case management. So it's not just kind of one and done. We're on that housing journey, and that journey can look like this sometimes, and that's true in Wendy's case as well. Like people, life hits people in different ways, and when you have less resources, it can hit you harder. And so the goal for us is really to be alongside our families through the journey. It's been an emotional journey, seeing her go through your housing challenges and stuff, but it's also been a really strong point of pride that I've had for you, of just your ability to kind of navigate the world of housing and the difficulties that come with it and still be able to come out on top,